My last video. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been playing this game since Christmas and have over 400 hours. But I did a second actual save. First one I sort of did play through with my sons in the mid-20s and his friend, or their friend, and you know, in co-op it's a lot easier. You try to do solo runs. One mistake, one bad challenge on a room that is really difficult without being equipped for the room, and the run's over. So here's some tips and tricks and how to get spores early in the first act, hopefully, if not by the first Craftsman or the second act. So let's get to it. Just a couple of things. On the left here on the second screen, but you could alt tab if you don't have it, you got to choose a build, and the top picks where we're mainly using our skills for defensive rather than damage. Now early on, because we're going to choose on lone wolf overconsumption, our skills perform well, but they don't scale well in the harder difficulties in Act 3 and Act 4. And so we're mainly using it to get our shield regen up. And spores will do the heavy lifting for the run, as we'll see. And across all characters I've done a similar thing. I worked it out in Spiritual Assault first and just applied to my runs. I was doing a whole different options, following builds. A lot of the stuff on the internet's out of date now. Game's been out for a while, streamers have moved on. I'm not even a streamer, but I thought I've worked out some stuff here, and I think I've watched every video and every hero that is popular, and it just wasn't really great, except for that page from Slight RNG. Here's tier lists, an explanation of how Ascensions work and a character. I was able to go through and get 8s done on every hero on the second one solo. So it was a bit of fun, just in a challenge, and I set myself those challenges. So let's go back to the game. So we've got our build, that'll be in the pinned comment, the first comment that's pinned, and I have a link to R8s on, I've only done 3, if I get a chance I'll do it on this guy later. But I'm not a real melee person, well, in this game at least. I play World of Warcraft and I'll play any character in there, though I do like range even in there as a hunter. So we've got to choose our decisions. So our main decisions we come up with, and there is a video there's a playlist that's pinned on all heroes and how to beat it, the turtle included, easily with an injector, a shotgun, and spores early, and being able to re-roll for free. And I've just applied that same logic here. So the talent that you'll need to do that is you'll at least need to have that. And if you're doing the harder content, fill that tree out first, and then obviously survival tree is important. This is co-op, so don't need those if you only play solo, and you don't need those two if you play solo. This tree is essential, especially the last one I should say on that. You can read just survival, staying alive in the harder content, get that one. That'll be the next tree I'd want to sort of get down to there. This one will cover our ejectors. That's the Radioactive Glove or the Rainbow are the two sort of best injectors in the game. They both have advantages that are different to each other. And the SMG, the best in the game, S tier weapon, is the Angelic Aura. So that covers those, and then you get lucky shot chance if you don't get down to there, not crucial, these two. I used to think these were really important because money was a real issue of having enough to both etch, then re-roll, and you might get 12 rolls, which is 3,600 gold. You don't have that early game. So why I choose Craftsman's Inheritor, which we'll do in the first mushroom on the first room, is it takes gold out of the equation. And every Craftsman can be upgraded for our shotgun, as we'll see. You only upgrade the shotgun, the off weapon that you're not using, it does the heavy lifting. The main weapon just needs to be fast fire rate to apply spores quickly. So let's go in, new adventure. Now Lone Wolf tells you it goes from 1 player to 2. It makes enemies fiercer, but you get to choose something that I think makes the run easier for a couple of reasons. 300% weapon damage, 300% skill damage. The skill's good early, it doesn't scale well later, but our weapon damage will play right through, and it is very rare to be below 60 or 50% of those statistics as scrolls diminish their strength. So it carries us through the first 2 acts, even the 3rd act. And it's usually the 4th if you're doing Mysterious Jokul, which is really tough. and it makes the last act. And I notice a trend that you get much more. I was doing lots of Jokuls recently on different tunes. It makes the whole run have more challenges, even in the first 3 acts I've noticed, than a normal R8 run. That seems to be. It's not documented on fandom, Gunfire fandom, F-A-N-D-O-M, as that, just as the last act, but that's just a trend that I've noticed. Okay, so we do Lone Wolf, and Overconsumption's a no-brainer. I used to do all these different things from other builds, but a lot of stuff on the web has just become outdated because streamers have moved on, the game's been out so long. We're just going to do a 1, and there will be links to 8s just to show how Spores performs really well on 8s, just the same. I've only done recently just to get some 8s recorded. The bunny is my favourite, and I've done lots of 8s and 8 Jokuls on him or her. The monkey I've done an 8, which I'll put up, and the bird I did today, an 8 as well, which is a melee character. And the fox I've done an 8, so they'll be up somewhere in my channel, but I'm still uploading. Okay, so we'll choose that. We've got Lone Wolf and Overconsumption. And that means like our skills actually have ascensions that we actually haven't got because they hit hard in the first act, but you'll see them peter out pretty quickly. Okay, we're after Craftsman's Inheritor here, which usually takes a couple of rolls. There it is, but if you don't, and I'll choose it, just escape and quit, and you won't be charged for the essence that you rolled. So just do 2 or 3 if you're short of essence. Jump out, and none of that will be charged unless you walk through the door. So that's good if you sort of want to be frugal on your essence because you're still filling out your tree to max. Don't mind that as a weapon, just it's a fast firing weapon, and not that it makes any difference because we haven't got spores, but it does eat through the shields, and there's lots of crossbowmen in that here. But to be honest, any of our skills in these first rooms will just like get close, they'll one-shot everything, you know. But they do, it's only the first few rooms, they do start to heat up after that, like our punch, our aspis. But we are a bit of a glass cannon because it is considered 2-player and there's nobody to pick you up, so you have to play a bit carefully here. Where are you going? Just fire there. I'm just keeping an eye on it. Don't get blitzed by that. They can wreck a run pretty quick. I usually on an 8, I'm just treating this as an 8, pick up some ammo here, and my secondaries, my punch. Did that punch a bit late? Okay. Go back for the vault. Oh, there it is. I was going to say, I usually get my gauntlet. We need the weapons to be level 2 if we're to get spores on before the first boss. Because they're level 2, we can upgrade. We only get 2 craftsmen. We can upgrade them to 5, and it needs to be in the first act level 5 to have spores. So there's a bit of RNG in it, but we'll get it by the second. Now, talking builds, just to flick back to the other page there, you can see that we've got a top pick, or a second top pick, and after retracting the aspis, we get our shield increased. So we'll see here what's our shield there. It just went from 2, it went up to 278, so that's a great one, and we can get rid of our aspis just by pressing E again after we're finished. So it's a good defensive to get our shield back and max shield up for when it gets harder, not so much now. First 2 vaults are always easy. The third usually has an elite and can be pretty brutal on an 8 before you get your ascensions up. As I said, skills do well, but I'll do some punches at the end of the run, even on a 1, showing you that they, even if we get ascensions that make it stronger, they perform real well. I'm maxed out of my punch, aren't I? Yep. Dual edge is pretty good, but it is a bit dangerous, but the return is like, you know, pretty reasonable. So just keep an eye on that, and you can toss it out later on, but use it earlier. You can track it down here and see the damage that you are doing and the damage you are taking. I think you can even toss it and it resets it. So if it is getting high, you can drop it, pick it up, and it resets it to 0. I think I'll try that. The strength of the turtle is, the both melees, the bird as well, is they do give you great defensives. I didn't talk about build so much, but that is a good one as well, solid shell I meant to say. So that's our first pick. That's our second, that's a good one pointer. And then you can play the build as you want from Sly RNG's page. He's got every hero with tier lists. And I tried every build, you know, like that's like a Kapow Punch build and a melee build, and tried all of those just to play around on earlier levels, and then started to go the spores, which changed things up a bit to more defensive. So anything that's defensive is valid. We're not going skill. Sorry, I've got a cold at the moment if I'm sniffing a bit. The 300% skill damage just really clears rooms for the first act pretty well until it gets hard. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. Nope. We need not to miss a peddler or a craftsman here, or even a wish chest early on. Read your message when you come in the room, they'll explode. It tells you that you don't want to be next to them when they die. I'm going to do that and run away, and then range. Just lots of grenades in here. And we got a wild hunt there, so we've got a shoddy, but it's probably going to be level 1. And we really need to be level 2, but I'll pick it up in a second. Just want to die here from the exploding. So I'd say that what really makes the runs hard, and where most runs fail, especially on the higher when every room's a challenge, is the RNG on some really brutal challenges where you're not ready with Ascensions. So that is a 1, but we'll tick it as a maybe. So we're after a wild hunt. Now let me show you something here actually, let me drop it. If you look at the ground there, it's 12, but you pick it up, I think it's a Reincarnation thing, because we're only on 1, it'll go up to 15. Now the Argus is slightly better, it'll go to 16.25 multiplier, and it'll have a slightly better base damage here. What really makes the difference is you can get a hell that has 17 or whatever, but the base damage doesn't pump up above 400 or 500 by the last boss that those two weapons do. So they are the best spore weapons in the game. Well, the only weapon we upgrade once we get spores on both is this weapon, and that gives us the freedom along the run to pick up better main weapons. And we're hoping for a set of Rainbow or a Radioactive Glove, because they're so good defensively. So we said there, that's a good second pick, just means the tidal aspis is there a little bit longer for OP. But, you know, and we don't really want to extend our aspis too long, to be honest, because we usually press it, survive, go back to pew-pewing once we're out of trouble. Okay, we've got this here, I want to see. This will usually have the level 2 weapons now. That's a great scroll. I want 2 scrolls in here, because movement speed, we've got 50% from overconsumption. And movement's life, and this is going to give us straight up 30% movement, but the ostrich boots is the other one. Now I'm looking for a good shoddy. Again, low multiplier, low base damage, very bad shoddy. Not a bad weapon, but just not good for a spore build. That one slows you down too, and the fire rate's too slow. And we got our Radioactive Glove, and I'm really happy about that. So I will be replacing my main, and it's 2. So that's our main weapon, we can go right through. Now what we're looking at there on statistics, doesn't matter for this, but as the run goes on, you want a weapon with rate of fire, so 50% rate of fire on killing enemy, 50% rate of fire for the first 50% of the magazine, lucky shot secondary to rate of fire. But that's good early because it's got 30% chance to recover ammo when we're killing an enemy. It means we're not reloading much, so that helps. So we've got our main weapon, and that'll take us through Act 3 if we wanted. It really doesn't matter about the weapon level, but it is great for this sort of stuff. It's got a really good range, it's nuking them before that, and we haven't even got spores on it. If it was an 8, it would be slower, but it'd still be sweet. And if you right click it, the way this works is the laser refracts to 3 enemies within 6 meters. So you're hitting 4 things at the same time, and it slows everything coming towards you, and that's its defensive. That you got stuff with corrosion on it, with the green on their heads, and they're rushing at you, and you just slowing everything down, especially in rooms that are tight. And it's such good range, where the rainbow is good defensively and you can shoot through like that. There's something on the other side, you can shoot through there. It has to be closer, and they both are very good defensively. There's our Craftsman. We're going to put, let me not be silly here and get back a bit, just slow everything down. The tip I'd say is on harder ones, just step into the room and look at the right of your screen, because it's the challenges, like these might be glazed, which means, you know, you have to do damage to them and then wait a bit, 1 second, until you can do real damage. And you can lose a run just by rushing in and dying to that stuff. We've got lots in this room, so what we're going to do here is, it's got to go up to level 5. So sadly, I'm still looking for another shoddy if I want to get, we've got plenty of time, spores before the first boss, but we put that up to 5. If we etch before doing it to 5, we'll just get another green down there. Now we've got that, and you could have up to 12 rolls. We got lucky there. 12 is my worst. That's 3,600 gold that we don't have, and we're going to do 2 weapons. So it's just great being able to take that equation out of the game. Okay, let's see here. Again, too low projectile count base damage. It would do as a temp, but you want to get your shotgun as early as you can. Let's see what's on this. I'll do the normal scroll. Snow boots is a good one. Really don't care about that because I don't have anything to spend money on. I used to before I started choosing Craftsman's Inheritor. And I refresh, I was just checking I did. I would always prefer to get my shoddy first. And oh, there we got one here too. That's a 2. And it's got a higher projectile count that might make up. I think what I'm going to do, 15, that's 12, it's even better. It doesn't matter about the inscriptions. I'm going to stick with the Wild Hunt. We might not have spores before, but just to say you could have got spores. If it was an 8, I would pick that up. And then just before the first boss, you can re-roll that one. There's only 2 Craftsmen. Because it's a 1, Overconsumption is giving us 300 weapon % damage. We're going to kill regardless whether we've got spores on it or not. It's just nice going into the second act, because that can be brutal sometimes, the challenges, like crit with the foundry, and you try to do that on the tiny heads and get close to the arsonist, it can be just end of a run. Where if we had spores, even though it's 90% weapon reduction because you're not critting with the, doing crit spot with the foundry, you'd burn through them. You'd use some ammo, but you'd burn through the room and then you're safe. You've got through a hard challenge. Okay, we're looking again for, you know, you're looking at the build on the left. This is just melee build. Choose whatever you want really, but there's no great choices there for us. Okay. Now this room, if you're trying to get your first kill, this weapon performs pretty nice. Overconsumption is giving us just 300%, so this is hitting 3 times as hard as it should. Feel free not to do this room. The beetle's the easiest. It's crit spots, though we're not critting. We're only doing right damage with this one. They have to critting for some reason. What's on this? Reload. Oh, it's demo regen. It slows him. You just keep moving. He'll charge where you were. But the guy that does the whirlwind, really dangerous. You can end a run on an R8 or an R8 Jokul. But the beetle you can do pretty easy. And you can run out of ammo. See how I'm burning through ammo? And we got a Wild Hunt. That's why you hold out and do your main. And now we can get spores before the first boss. And we will be keeping this weapon for the entire run, and that will be over 500 by the end, or thereabouts. Because we had the money to do every Craftsman now. So a good example of just very rarely, 1 out of 8 videos that I've done in the last 2 days, did I not have lucky shot. Not have, don't ever do that one. Do paranormality, that does your health to 1, but all our defensive is based on shield. If you were the dog, when he dual wields, he gets health regen. That would be a great one for the dog. That consumes your money, and money's not an issue really. It does burn through it, and that's 50% lucky shot after dashing, so we'll just choose that. You can check your overconsumption here. We've lost 7%, still got 93%, so be selective on your scrolls. Okay, now a little bit easier here. We've got the good defensive glove for if it's a hard rooms. This is not too bad, this one. Just refract your beam, stay back. You're going to get some lung bowman in the corner. You wouldn't be killing as fast in the 8 without spores, but if you had spores in the second act on an 8, and you can see the linked videos in the pinned comment, it would be killing in Act 2 about that. So because we have to keep our shield and we can't choose that on the scroll, we do that. If you're on the dog and you'd converted your health, you'd be bumping your health up. Don't need money really, but we'll do that. So we've got that lucky shot which does burn through your gold. See the gold going down every time it's lucky shotting just by 2, and if you've got a really high lucky shot, I've seen it just empty your gold to 0. So you wouldn't be doing that unless you had Craftsman's Inheritor at the start. You need every bit of gold to upgrade your weapons. So the only time I think you'd ever use it is if you had that affix, or you got it late in the game. This room can be brutal affixes sometimes. It can have exploding heads. You've got the longbowmen, the most dangerous back there. So get rid of those. This won't go through the shields, so just leave them till last. To get the refracted beam, they have to be close together, within 6 meters, which is 6 yards if you're from the US. You just, we'll taunt those later, they're easy. And our punch and that goes through their shields, so we'll finish them off with that. But they do move very slowly, so we'll finish those off. It's the range that are dangerous. Even though he's enhanced, we'll do our B. Most skills go through those shields on most heroes, all of them probably. Okay, we've got that. We'll get that before doing the vault. I won't do the vault in the ladder acts. I would if I was doing an 8, but I just want to make the video a bit quicker. I just want to show you how to get, oh, we got a good one there. So do that. It went up from 150 to 380. It's just great to go into battle to quickly tap, or after you get hit. Not going to do this, and I'll show you why. I mean, you can use skills here and punch, and it won't activate these sides, just to show you. Look, it's a good one for this room, but if you use weapons, it activates everything around you, so your punches won't do it either. Oh, we'll do it, just tweak on the 1, but I wouldn't do it on an 8. If you use this weapon, it would refract and activate all of these guys. So you've got to be very careful with your aim. And don't refract, it would get that guy next to him. So just signal like left click. Oh, there's something alive still. They can be brutal, these rooms. Not this the one so much, but the other one, and on an 8, you know, you haven't got spores yet, so they keep spawning. Oh, I'll just go back to punching again because it won't activate the guys that are frozen. Just, you can die in this room on an 8. That's what I'm saying. What are you getting? A scroll? Could be a good scroll, but it's not worth ending your run, and we've got our weapons, you know. And the one's refracting. I'm going to get out of here. It's taking too much time. You got the idea. You can do it if you want. But it's a long room for very little return. So we're at the boss now. We didn't really get very many hard rooms. The last run I did, I'd say the hardest room is the really long one with bridges and lots of longbowmen. It's a brutal room. So we've got our weapons. I'm just looking for scrolls here. Oh, well, there's an Argus that's level 2. So we would have got it anyway. So I look on here for a shotgun, and I'm going to replace my, you'll see there that its base damage is 15 times 104. And this will be 16.25 when we pick it up, times 107. So it's marginally better, but enough at this stage because it's a start. I wouldn't do it later as level 2. So we go over to here, bump that up to 5, and now the entire run, if this was an 8, we'd be melting this boss and everything beyond it, and we're only going to get stronger. And spores early really does make runs quicker and more successful. I'm coming back because I didn't refresh. Maybe there's a scroll. Nope. Make sure you got ammo, because you'll burn through with injectors, especially without deft hands, which is a great one to get. So we've got ammo. Oh, well, let's buy. We've got plenty of money. Buy that for later on, maybe. So we've got our, not that we're using in this. I didn't see which boss it is. His crit spot on this and at auto aim is his chest, and he's going to die. Like, if it was an 8, it's overconsumption and spores that did that. Would have got a good weapon there too if we didn't have this. It's got 4. Anything from here on that drops from this boss can be etched in the future. But I don't like going into... They see that 50% lucky shot chance on the blue? That's really nice because we'll be one-shotting everything, even if it was an 8 in Act 2 and 3 and slowing down in Act 4, but we start to get stronger then. So, you know, it's not much slower. Fisher Paw is really good for spores, by the way. The way spores works is this is just a spore placer, so high projectile, a high rate of fire. Doesn't matter about the level of this weapon, we only upgrade from here on this weapon at every craftsman. So this makes the spores hit harder, these 2 numbers here, and this is just, we're looking for any weapon with rate of fire. And these weapons are good defensively, so. Looking at our build on the left, you know, that's the OP offensive build, enemies hit by hurdle, less damage, so that's the no-brainer on the second column down. That on the third act you'll mainly use that. We won't need it with what we got now. It's so powerful, spores. Now you want to get fake death at the next 2 mushrooms. If it turns up, choose it. And the reason being that you can just, on a harder run, just get a bad room and you fall over and the run's over. So it just helps survivability. Anything that doesn't hurt weapon damage is what you want to do here, and we're not really wanting to invest in skill damage. I'm going to do re-roll inscriptions, which you can then re-roll this if it doesn't have like rate of fire on it. Once we get something with 4 inscriptions, doesn't bother now. Doesn't need anything on that to pew everything in this next room. These rooms can be brutal on, like this here, just one shot. This room's brutal if it's got like the foundry. The most dangerous usually is the, well, I was going to show you arsonists, but I probably should take my finger off because they instantly died jumping down. It makes runs OP. Just make sure you do check every corner for a craftsman. We didn't get the craftsman in this room, so if we had to forge, it's either this room, the next, or the one after. And the challenges can be brutal. Like this next room could be glazed. And it's got arsonists, it's got, and you know, if you're close to them, and this slows them, that's why it's such a wonderful weapon, even if we didn't have Gemini. Replace normal is good later in the run. Let me see what I got on that. I got reload and ammo. I don't mind the ammo on killing enemies, but it's a shame we didn't get that later. I'll see what happens in the next room and come back if it's good. We're just destroying it, doesn't matter. Not even doing refractive beam. Giving my right click a rest. Okay, we've got our craftsman. So we would have got there and been able to do our Gemini. You know, could use that as a fast fire rate. So all we do now is we only upgrade this weapon. I could reload. I'm going to re-roll and just see what I get because it's not hurting me. See if I get rate of fire. You can only do 3, and it will re-roll the Gemini. Be aware, which is not hurtful for us, but just remember to put your Gemini spores back on. That's not great. I want to get rate of fire, and I got rate of fire killing an enemy. That's the one I'm glad I could show you that I want. That is going to pew pew. You got to watch your ammo a bit, and we'll get some scrolls for that. But there's plenty of peddlers along the way, and money's not an issue. Reforged that back. I don't care about the burning. That's gonna we were destroying in a way, but if it was an R8, you know, you just want everything you can do. This is a really dangerous room. You're going to get arsonists here, you get the snipers, the retainers they are, and the corrosion is really nice for slowing everything down. If you had the rainbow, it plays differently. That tornado really hurts you too. It strips your shield down quick smart. You can see that I'm not using skills at all. I'll try to hit some of the skills in a second just to show you. And they do start to pitter out even on Reincarnation 1. Like, they don't hit like this is hitting. And spores, I hope they don't nerf it when people get to know that how good this is. Because most of the stuff on the web, I couldn't get any good info. It was a Reddit post that I found one thing. I'm not worried about the damage from the Aspis there. Not worried doing that. Really, you can choose whatever you want out of the builds on the left there. I mean, that's in the OP offensive one, so it can't hurt us. Just don't hurt weapon damage. I'm just going to go in here. I'm not bothered that I skipped the chest back there because I knew I had that to re-roll. It's going to be elite in this room, and he really is tough without spores, depending upon what you get. If you get the guy with a shield, this doesn't go through the shield, but with spores, it'll do enough damage. Look, that was an elite. He's really dangerous. He throws bombs and really nukes you. Makes the run really fast. And I'll put up, have a look at the R8 bunny. It's no slower. Really does nuke within seconds stuff. I think I got a boss on the bunny that the second boss lasted 8 seconds. Fast load is useless, so we'll do that one. We're not ever going to get the cursed scroll that it wants to give you for health or whatever, or the elusive inscription, unless you have the evil banishing talisman. Just let the chest rot. Okay, this room can be really hard sometimes. Often it'll be kill things within 12 meters, otherwise they take 1 damage, which means they don't die unless you're close. And on an 8, you're going to have arsonists here, you're going to have bandits that want to charge you, you've got retainers wanting to snipe you. If it's the one with 4 waves in here, it can be brutal. So just looking around the room, we bump up this, don't miss any craftsmen, and know where they are to come back to. If we didn't have a great weapon, backtrack, it's worth it on the higher runs just to be successful. I'm not a speed runner. I was going to say there's usually a vault here or a chat chest, so check it. This is not bad because we've got money to burn, and I would like ostrich boots. We've got paranormality, so that's really nice for us. That will make all our regens shield. Remember I said flesh and bones wasn't good, but now we've got 380, and now if we do that, we've got 760 shield going into a fight. So if it was on a harder difficulty, really great to have. And then if we get hit, we just have to press our Aspis again, and it's back up, there's the vault. And normally I'd clear the room and come back for the vault, but I'm just going to jump in quick. Don't want enemies right in front of you coming out unless you're really powerful. This can be really tough, this one, without spores. But because we've got spores, the damage is so berserk that whatever comes at us, as soon as it spawns, it's dead. Like I'm having to chase them. Usually you're fighting off them, not getting, I'm not even doing the enhanced. Spinning around. The Radioactive Glove, you should have it unlocked, but if you're doing this content, you have to kill 20 venomous lizards, which only come in Act 2. Probably killed some then, I couldn't tell. And you got to do 20 of them and then it's unlocked. And you only get it on elite or high, you can't unlock in normal. But unlock it as early as you can if you're in doing a normal. Get up to elite to unlock them as soon as you can, if you're watching this ahead of time. I've already got reload. I don't care about hidden treasure because money's not an issue, and I'm not going to lose 2% of my overconsumption. So the room was a waste, but that could have backup shield, feline cat, stone skin, all really essential survivability, all really massive DPS ones that increase weapon damage. That's a good one for survivability, dashing on boss. Remember, we've already got 50% down because of overconsumption. Really just looking for scrolls at this stage. Could have got a good main weapon here to go back to if you didn't have a fast firing weapon. I'm not really looking for any weapons at this stage until Yeah, it has to be really good. I'd like to get a rainbow to show you guys just how that works, which I'll get somewhere in the run and give it a go. I haven't done a run that I've never got it somewhere. I want speed simply to get around and clear the rooms quicker because everything's dying so quick. I don't need money, so I'm not melting any weapon. In the early days, before I chose Craftsman's Inheritor, you'd be melting every weapon, you'd be melting every scroll that you didn't to get 10% of their worth, whatever. And then you didn't have enough money and a way to upgrade at every Craftsman because it just wasn't, unless you got hidden treasures, which you had to then clear every pot, everything in the room that slowed the run down. Or hidden treasures, or what's the other one, extra coppers, that the enemy sort of drop more, or Devil's Covenant, that is actually you lose health 50% to get 50% extra coppers. You're just scrounging for money, and it's nice not to have to. We're running around the same way, I think. Oh, he's running the other way. Oh, he's up on the roof, I bet. No, he's running around, whatever direction I go. Come on, man, do I just stop still? Oh, go the other way? I've not had this happen before. It's pretty funny. Come on, we're catching up to you. He's up top? Oh, please don't be glitched. Never had to come up here to get an enemy before. Yep, he was stuck in there somehow. They always jump down. Never actually been up there before. Probably a good defensive. Okay, we got another one of those on the OP offensive build. It means that we get hit, we've got lots of enemies around, they're doing less 50% within that. Not that we need it for this run, but on R8 Jokul you need everything. Not doing any enhanced beam, it's just one-shotting everything. And you can see I've done a playlist on every hero. This is the last hero, and I play this guy the least. Not for any other reason that, you know, I probably should play it more. But when you're trying to get your first kills, you know, I was on the bunny, and I give my first kill credit to Slide RNG's bunny. Is just, his builds were so wonderful. They're all good. I'll take that. Sometimes you get a scroll that gives you dashing lucky shot, or, you know, 3 seconds after dash, that sort of thing. Just looking for scrolls now. I don't care about that one because we're not going to lose any health because we've got our health as 1. Nothing else there. If you're doing Jokul, you get to refresh the peddlers an extra time, 1 more time, and the normal peddlers you get to refresh 3 times if you've got, you know, your talents unlock the other. This can be a tough room sometimes, especially if it's a vault. You got snipers all on top. The rainbow shines in this room because you get underneath the snipers and take them out from underneath. And if it's a vault, you get an invasion here by a guy that's corrosive arsonist, and if you get anywhere near him, it's the end of a run. You've got to have a ranged weapon, or the rainbow on the other side of terrain. I think it's dead there. All I'm interested in now would be a rainbow. That's a thunderclap. High fire rate, but hey, you got to aim. And you can play around. I've tried all the good weapons, you know, looked up S tier weapons and that. Even those lists are dated. We'll do that. We'll take anything for defense. And the boss is just going to melt, I'd guess, in a couple of seconds, to be honest. Just looking here for a scroll. Nope, bad. This is your last chance at a main weapon that you might need that's better, and a shotgun if you hadn't got your shotty by now, but rarely have I ever got to this boss. I've always got to this boss on all 8 heroes in my videos, and I just ran through. It wasn't like I had to do 10 runs to get it. Just on 1 run and had spores and pew-pewed. Now we've got it up to 255, it's level 14. This guy who flies, It's pretty, I think he's easier than the other on harder runs, but his crit spots his face, but he won't last. One reload, yeah, he's dead. On an 8, I think my bunny, if you watch that video on this, which is in a playlist of Reincarnation runs, even the others, the bird or whatever, and we got a rainbow with spores. I don't like changing weapons on the boss here, because we go in, if it was an 8, there's some pretty hard challenges sometimes. What have you got? Okay, that basically means we're never going to reload the last one. The capacity 2. The crit X only helps on boss. You can crit on that weapon by right-clicking their crit spot. And again, it's all reload. I think we rolled rate of fire, didn't we? I do want to show you how this works. I'll give it a go for the run just to show you how to play defensively and why it's wonderful. I would have kept that. The other thing too why I would have kept it is the next boss coming up in Act 3. If it's the Serpent, we can pew-pew with either weapons, whether it's the rainbow, but if it's the catfish guy, I forget his name, with the ship and the cannons, and you've got to kill the octopuses, the rainbow has to be changed out at the peddler that's before. So we got ebb and flow, which is good. Starts to recover immediately and receive 50% shield recovery speed. So that's our top pick, looking at OP offensive on Slight RNG's build. That is in the pinned comments. Yeah. Now this is your last chance of fake death, but you often do get it, and so stick with it if you're having troubles getting that first kill. There you go. And that can just make a hard run, like one death in the last act. The run's successful. Not that I need it on this, what we got. So one glazed is always hard, so run around and get, because there's going to be lanterns come at us in a second, they're going to be glazed. So get a shot on them, and then just keep moving. This is where movement speed, I'm dashing, and he's immortal. Really can end a run here with glazed. This is a good room for glazed, because I didn't mean to press that. You got plenty of room, but I got this once in the next stretch where there was a wall behind me and nowhere to go. It was just a little walkway, and died. Because I had, now here the Kappas are the most dangerous. Did I get the snow boots? No, that was the previous run. I like to get snow boots. It's a white scroll and you often get it. And what that means is Kappas on the harder runs, really nice defensive shield. Every 30 seconds, that little number on the bottom left here will make us immune to damage. We get 3 big hits. It doesn't even hit our shield. So lightless shield, feline cat's the best in the game. We take 100% damage. So I got the immunity just here, and you can see we're blocked in there and there. And there's just nowhere to go, and there was Kappas, it was an 8. And it was brutal. It wasn't easy like that, let me tell you. Always just step into the room and look at the right of your screen to see if there's a new challenge. I always straight away do that because the game's paused. If I can get up there, I do. I can't get up there. Got short legs, hey, come on. Did that by mistake. I'm used to having playing, I'm talking my bunny where you just do your E for defense. All the time, because it doesn't interrupt the shooting. Okay, we bounce that up. And remember, that's there in case we got a weapon and we didn't have our great weapon. We got a rainbow ahead and we're just using an inferior one. So we'll run through here. I don't think I'll do all the vaults, but I just want to do a couple and show you the elites will melt in these side rooms. And if it's an 8, it's the same. This room's usually the sharks are the dangerous ones that spawn, and the lobsters sometimes. But because of the rainbow, you can use terrain. You get a catfish in here and he does these projectiles. So you just get on the other side of the rock. I can hear Lens behind me, that's the elite. He just ported somewhere. Where'd you go, mate? Was he dead? He was dead. Can be rough on higher difficulties. The monk is probably one of the easier ones. The lobster can bombard you with all enemies around you. That's a good one. And it's really good because it's got a synergy here. That minus 50 damage, 30% damage, it's a bit like stone skin when your shield armor is not 0. which ours will never be. If we get down to 0, we're dead. So we don't get the negative of that because we did paranormality, so it pairs really well with that on this hero. So that's just 30% straight up reduction. It's got no cooldowns, just straight up. Everything only hits us for 70% of their damage. And that's where scrolls can pick up too, if you've been unlucky on it. If you wanted to get that money, and money's not an issue, but it offers you, just throw your paranormality scroll on the ground for a second. Oh, I got the doorbell, just a second. Sorry about that. I don't stream, I'm not a professional streamer. I don't know, I've got 100 views or something total on all my videos. But there just wasn't much on, there was nothing on Spiritual Assault that was helpful. So putting this up, and tomorrow Returnal comes out, which is a roguelike. Let me see what the advanced version, I mean, it won't hurt me, it's 1 point. It's skill damage, but you know, it's a good main weapon again, and it's got increased rate of fire. So it isn't a terrible spore placer, but you've got to aim. On the harder difficulties, it can be great to have this defensive weapon. So we're going to have octopuses here, kappas. You just can get the octopuses from underneath. You get things on the other side of the rocks, you get them under, we're killing them so quick, I just met you if it was an 8. It's a great defensive weapon. And that's why I wanted to show you how the rainbow can get you through, especially in Act 4, some pretty difficult rooms. Now what have I missed? There's something alive, there it is. I'm not going to do the side rooms now. I just, even with that, you would on an 8, of course. So some of the scrolls, like we just got Phantom Skin, can make or break a run. We're not going to be doing that. We're not holding that. Supposed to do it for 5 seconds after we do it. It's only 80%. We've already got 300% plus some other scrolls. We'll blitz it. I just want to show you the bossing really now, so we'll just clear these rooms. This room will often have anything you kill turns into a shark or a lantern, and even on an 8, you can kill everything so quick with spores. You've got to be careful not to pew-pew the room, otherwise you've got 20 sharks going after you and chaining you. So you sort of got to kill a couple, and if it's a shark, for instance, they can't chain you through that, so you just get on the other side and shoot them through with this weapon. If you've got the... Sorry about the pause. Real life happening at this end. My last video. This is sort of a hard stretch, and this doesn't have a lot of range, so this is where movement speed, I think, becomes really important. Lots of these, so, but you can use the fence here, like get them to the side, they can't chain you there. That's what I mean, it's defensive. And this is where they often turn into sharks in this room, so on a harder one. You can get the same challenge on a 1, by the way. You just don't get them as often, the challenges. It's the difference from a 7 to 8 that I noticed when I first did my 7 and started running 8s, that what makes the 8s harder, apart from the little increased health and that, didn't make a huge difference. It was the challenges. Were very regular. I'm not going to run it. Just want to make the video and get to the bosses and show you a couple of tips on that about boss guides with the weapons, because this, as I said, this weapon won't be sufficient if it is the cannon boss. It doesn't auto-aim. The cannons, you'd have to right-click every cannon, and you do that, you're going to be dead. There's a wild hunt, too late. Did I miss a craftsman? No, just look on the mini-maps. I usually circle around the room on 8s just to make sure in the heat of the battle that I haven't missed anything that's really essential, but we're not doing an 8. It just gives us some movement speed by holding the aspis. After retracting, it gives us, but only for the next 4 shots. So I don't really care about that. I'll do the movement speed to get no crap moment while I'm playing. Like if this was, especially in the last act where things get hard, and on Jokul, that last act is berserk. If you're going to fail on the Jokul, it's always the last room before the last boss. And just using the boxes here for the catfish if it was an 8. We got that glove, which I probably need to go back and change to. I've shown the other act goes just in case. What did that have on it? Doesn't matter really. We can re-roll these. I got that thing that we can re-roll. Rate of fire. That's not really helping. That's not bad. Oh, it doesn't crit this one. If we had the rainbow, that'd be good. That's not really great. That's not doing anything, so we'll definitely re-roll it. It's going to re-roll the Gemini, so I'll roll that later. I've got 2 more rolls of this. Rate of fire 2 seconds after critting's not helping us. It's just really not reloading, basically. That's good. 30% against elites and bosses is really helpful. It's straight up 30% damage. The other stuff isn't great though. Oh, rate of fire, that's what it. More than 50%, so I'm happy with that. And that's already got that, and I bumped that up. We're good. So, scrolls that help that, some characters have that built in, like if you've got MO regen on the bunny, it's really good. So, you know, if you see a good weapon before this boss, like this weapon or an angelic aura or something, swap over to it just because you know the boss is after here. If you're doing this on a harder content, you want to get those lobsters down. They are the most dangerous here, so you sort of don't die to get in there, but keep moving. They'll shoot where you just were. Just seeing what scrolls are here. Nope. Oh, we got a rainbow that we would have got. Just showing you they do. You will get it in the run somewhere. I just like to look what's there. It's not brilliant. It's got lucky shot stacks with ammo used. When we fire so much ammo, that'd be good. No scrolls. If that was on a peddler on the last one, I'd be happy to go to it if it was better than what I had. I got an Argus. Don't need shotguns, of course. As soon as you get your shotty, you got it for the whole run. That's the wonder of it. The wonderful thing about it, I should say. Just refracting here, they're bunched up a bit. Notice I'm not even needing my defense because this is a long range one, but obviously on an R8, especially in Act 4. It's going to say that the lobsters jump down here, and sometimes there's a house here and they're on top, but this map changes. Turn around and kill them quick and get out of the red, and I'm just getting my shield back here, using movement to get away. That's the beauty about this. We're using our skills. Slow the sharks with this, but you can get away quickly and survive. It's wonderful defense, this toon, this hero. Again, you do those if you're doing an 8. You could just get a wonderful scroll or a DPS scroll that makes the run successful. You could do, that would be if you're doing, a build that was skill based, but we'll just do that with skill based damage. There's nothing there that's great, and I don't care for any of them. We've got everything we need for the run. We've got all our defensives that are really crucial. What have we got missing? We've got 2 of those. A third would be nice. We've got that one which was top pick. We got that which was a top pick for 1 at least, just to get out of trouble. And this one would have been nice to get if we were doing that. If we were trashing, it's not going to help us on the boss as much, but 45% if you're close might save you from the cleave in the last boss. I did the goblet, didn't I? Yes, I did. That's the serpents. I would have been fine with the rainbow, but if we didn't, pretend we had the rainbow here now and we come through for the run. We're just looking for a fast fire weapon, and any weapon really. So I would have chosen that. I would buy that and then drop it and refresh again to see if there's something better. But that's more. It's 725. What's it got on it? Don't even worry about the inscriptions. Spores will be all right. We got the immunity, which just to show you, it's good to get that early. We haven't got any chests that have been offered though. I haven't been really careful on the rooms, looking for them, just because I'm trying to make the run quick and the video quick. But what did we get? I didn't look at the weapon on the second refresh. So we would have used the fire scale, which is a pretty decent weapon. Just the fire rate's a bit low, and it does have a right click that does a big nuke when the neck comes down. If we didn't have rate of fire or anything decent here, we've got 30% weapon against bosses. You could re-roll at every one until you get something good, but I'm happy with that. We've got our damage up to 365, so we'll be above 400 by the time we boss. I did a previous run where I had the scroll that gives you an extra level, and I got the weapon early, and I was up to 46. See the weapon, the damage this does. It's ridiculous. Spores, I didn't even do any defense. Now on an 8, it wouldn't do that. That's only for a sniper build on the Tiger or something, which I don't even do. We wouldn't be changing here, just having a look around. You can see that's a 10. Not that we'd swap here, it just doesn't have the scale on the base damage. And nothing great there. You can choose whatever you want. I'm just randomly choosing because we're only going for defensive and we're not even using that. So follow the build on the left. Now if you're doing R8 Jokul, you can actually use that one. He's ignoring us now and swap one of the three. And what I do on Jokul is I swap that out. I make sure I've got a lot more money. I mean, I've got 8 grand, it doesn't matter. But copper, I don't need that. I've got no limit on 20 scrolls. You can see that I've not even had any scrolls doing the side rooms and having been selective. And then that means you can have as many scrolls as you want. Understand you're diminishing, they've got to be good scrolls because you're diminishing your overconsumption. Our overconsumption still at this point of the run is 76% of the 300% weapon damage, 300% skill damage, movement speed, cooldown on our Aspis. So it really does perform for the whole run if you're selective. I've never gone below 50% of my overconsumption by the time I've bossed. So I'm just going to buzz through here, no vaults. We'll get elite invasions and they'll just melt. I might do a vault just to show you that even the elites here, this is a 1, but what do we got here? We don't. Oh, that's an occult scroll. Don't mind that. Let's see if we get ostrich boots. Got money to burn. I have to give one that's a money one. I wasn't reading it. The one that re-roll for scroll is good. It does get expensive quickly, like thousands after the first 3 rolls, but you usually get a decent scroll out of it. Where are you, man? Up there hiding. They've heard about the spores. It's getting out, and they're hiding from us. Spiritual assault's really fun. You got to look at this hero and go and do a spiritual assault, or any hero. And the 8 videos are in a playlist all together somewhere in the channel, because you got so much chasing you and you're melting them. You're just melting them, and it's pretty hard to do. I don't know how you do that without spores. We'll do that for the 35% straight up white damage. Don't ever get that. If you got the radioactive glove, you get minus 50% movement speed. That's death. I can't think of a good situation. If you stand in the corrosion like that and you nuke stuff outside, you get a damage increase, but hey, you're gonna die if you stand still in this game. Sources are appearing here, usually on an 8. The ones that are dangerous are the mountain guard. The stalker's sniping, which that was one up there before I nuked it. The mountain guards do a charge and then a slam, but this is not going to do that here. I got this room on an 8 I did today that was a little bit brutal, in that they were glazed and they all corner you at the start. You got to move around. It was pretty hard. I did it alright, but it's the challenges that make this hard, and spores really can save the day on the harder levels. Okay, good defensive again. Just anything that gets defense I'm happy for. We're close to the last boss and he cleaves us. That's damage reduction. What is it for the boss? Just with 1 point, 15%, it could be the difference from a successful one or not. Often here, this is where it starts to get really pretty brutal. The cavalry are the ones that are really dangerous, just up there on the little, I think they're riding penguins. Well, they're dangerous if you don't. We're really pew-pewing here. I can hear something cocked its rifle to shoot. It's a stalker. But they will drop you on an 8. And you'll often get elite invasions happening along this stretch. And Jokul is crazy. The last room is innumerable elites. Always you get that saucer there, so be aware of it. Enemies are all empowered, blue names, crazy health. There's the elite invasion, even on a 1. He's the most dangerous elite in Act 4. Well, on higher levels, let me say. He puts fire everywhere he charges. You can't be slowed. He's got a crazy amount of health. And then when you get this last room, it's not an invasion. You can get like 6 elites charging you. First, he's enhanced. Don't die trying to get those. It puts shields on, but just do the back of the rim and let them come to you. You can burn through the shield after a second. Get it down if you can. See, they're dangerous. And with this weapon, why I like it on the last run, this weapon rather than the rainbow doesn't have the range. I can just stay right back and slow everything and refract them as they come around the corner with the right click. Not that I have to do that here, but you come around that corner and that range of that frost just drops you. So I learnt the pattern of the rooms, you know. Missed something here, I can see a red dot. Where are you? Okay. Just racing to the last boss now. Quick runs if you're just trying to get some, you know, an R1 is 1,000 or something. And you don't have to buy it at every Craftsman or peddler. You make good essence out of it. Sorry, I was just not thinking then what I was doing. So it's boss time. You know, I've got 30% on boss, which I'm happy about. I might have re-rolled if I didn't have that. We're just looking for an OP legendary scroll or something we might get lucky on, which we didn't. And we're good. And we just bumped that up. What do we get up to? Above 400, like I said. I'm usually up to about 450. We got that a little bit later. So it's plenty good to... I've got a Jokul video, my first, which is just the Jokul that I put up to show my sons, not to make public, but it is public. And I burnt him really quickly. Just had a good run. I think it was with an angelic aura and spores. You just got to kill the canister, kill him, and then you got to do a, like, we didn't even see the other phase where he does orbs coming out. That's a joke. And there's a kill like that, and it's an 8 Jokul. No, it's not as fast as that, but I beat the burn timer with plenty of time to go. Let's see the summary of the run and closing comments. Pretty fun game. I really had a lot of fun with this. Never played a roguelike game in my life. And just my son said, we always try to choose a game to play together, the two of us. I did it on another playthrough. That's why I got an achievement then on this one. I did that one where I did everything solo and first kills. I just got the achievement that I did a successful run on this save account. Okay, what do we hit for 247? So the hits aren't huge. I did one just previously and it was an R8 and I did 1,000,000 or 996 or something thousand. But we made 900 essence and we spent along the way. So it's pretty generous. And that's an R1, you know. And I didn't do any side rooms and get essence from that, 36 minutes. About the same. You actually gets a little bit more essence in here than you would from a spiritual assault. But still good to beat that solo. It's a lot of fun with just a million things chasing you. Remember, you got to have that. You don't need that for co-op. That's for co-op. You don't need that for solo. But really, if you're falling over, do get your survival tree down. Just keep at it and fill these out. They make a difference. There again, essential for co-op play. But you got to get your skill tree down there. It'd be the next priority. So etching, survival, skill reduction of your primary. And then getting that down there for lucky shot and your injectors, submachine guns is helpful. These two aren't essential, really. It is nice to be able to re-roll the peddlers and maybe get a shotty off it or a main weapon at times. Anyway, have a good run. I hope that helps. If I hopefully remember, and I'll put the R8 runs linked in the pinned comment and the build and so forth. And I hope you get your first R8 kill. And do what I did and just set yourself a challenge of getting an R8 on every hero. And, you know, it took me quite a few runs to get it and work it out. And that was before I worked all this stuff out. But, yeah, made the game fresh. Have a good day.